At the mesa of a mountain, in the land of trickery, we find a forest. Withered trees of dull green and brown packed tightly to paint the scene as a thick fog rolls outward and down the cliff sides. A sad state for a forest, but a perfect place for a hideout. Beyond the fog, beyond the trees, beyond the illusion, we see a lush forest teeming with life, leading to a village brimming with energy. As the organization responsible for monitoring magical anomalies and fighting back against the corruption of magic, the clan of Cauldareen won't be caught sleeping. We see teams of agents returning to the base via the teleportation circles on the outskirts of the village. Robotic creatures crawl the treetops of the deceiving forest, monitoring those permitted. And we find new recruits to the clan of Cauldareen, hard at work on their next mission.
Hello, I'm Myri. I play Brutus, the human paladin. Do you consider yourself a warrior?
Hi, my name is Mustafa. My name's so nice you gotta say it twice, and I play Tear, the Fallen Star ASMR Druid. I don't know who started the 2 stars to the right thing, but the best stars are the ones at the bottom.
Hello. My name is Grim Songbird, and I will be playing Hiccup, the lizardfolk wild magic sorcerer. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Amelia Som, and I play Terex, the Drow Blood Hunter. And no, I won't be doing that.
Hi, I'm Ivy, and I'll be playing Ruby, the Fire Genasi rogue. No, Arson, not this time.
Last time on the Cauldareen Chronicles, the half-orc fighter Bennett stands victorious amongst a pile of corpses as the effects of fire fade away. Information's gonna cost ya.
How about 50 gold and a bread squoosh?
Altair and Bennett lead our party through a portal to a faraway land, the capital city in the land of trickery, and a fallen star gives their true name.
My name is Sagittarius.
A mysterious woman tests the boundaries of these weaponized tattoos. Can you use them on children?
Excellent. We just wanted to know you're willing to go all out for your cause.
The presence of 2 sinister entities, a resemblance to the Guardian of Cauldareen, and a sample of the product.
Should have joined Team Tat.
We pan up to the bustling streets of Eleanor as Team 10 is guided through the streets. The sneaking eyes of a Kenku from Team 7 catch their attention.
I cast message. Enemy located. Stand down.
The Kenku responds in Luna's voice. Team 10 missing. Nearby agents be advised. Luna. Safely back through the portal, a wise leader makes a safe bet.
I'm gonna let Jarvis know that we're okay.
And a half-elf with fangs cackles maniacally as he reads the message back. He steps over a body and seals a letter with the signature Jarvis. These are the next offenders of this land. These are the Cauldareen Chronicles. And welcome back to the Cauldareen Chronicles team. Let's find out how we're going to handle things. We have just sent a message out to Jarvis. You're here at the fight. You've portaled back through. You're at the underground arena somewhere. You have no idea where all these portals lead to, but they're connected here at this fight ring. You took a moment to sit down, message Jarvis that you were okay and in the casino, in that beneath the underground casino, and Jarvis responded back for your call sign. And Ruby, you gave your call sign to verify that you are in fact who you say you are. And then there was no more response. What are you guys doing?
Do we head back and
Panic. No, I'm kidding.
We had not seen Luna yet.
Yeah.
We did not roll high enough to find them in the crowd.
let's
I think
do we
what
wanna
we
head
were
back home?
Yeah, I thought what we were going to do is return to the inn or the room in the inn and share info of what we've put together. Because some of us have seen things that others have not, etc.
Yeah,
Some of
that's-
us who opened doors that should have remained closed.
Well, it shouldn't have been cracked open.
Yeah. Probably shouldn't have been hiding your creepy undead magic behind it, you know.
Yeah. What were you
Weird.
thinking?
Totally on them. 100%.
How bizarre.
Yeah.
How bizarre.
Maybe we head back to the inn and we sort of deal with things in private.
I agree with that. They know where we're going. I mean, where else are we going to go?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I did
That
get
said, they
On a
do-
rogue
never
mission.
mind.
They
we
do
just-
know-
Rogue. We're not going on a rogue mission. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Okay,
Bennett
so
knows
All
we're
missions you
staying
go on
there,
rogue
so
missions.
we should be careful.
Yeah.
all right, so are we returning to the Oak and Steel?
We are.
Mhm.
I believe so.
So to do so, you'll have to leave this place, and you find your way back through the entrance that you originally entered. And like before, it takes you up and out through a store, much like you previously remember, as it's a little area inside of a much larger casino. And you walk through this casino, having stepped through this special closet or door that serves as a portal to bring you to this destination. And you are now back in the city of Gimdree, where the Oak and Steel is located. Do you head straight for it?
I believe so, unless
Mhm.
anybody has anywhere they wanted to stop.
No, I just want to keep my head on a swivel as we're going there. Try to see if like somebody is trailing us from the under casino or anything.
Okay, yeah, make a perception check, Brutus.
I'm so good at those.
So it begins.
I'm not so good at that.
I was gonna ask
Perception.
if I can assist.
9. I
Nah,
got a
there'd
9.
be no reasoning, no communication had happened for that to make sense.
Yeah,
Okay.
Brutus wouldn't have asked. She's just trying to stay wary.
Yeah. I believe Ruby's also going to at least stay on some kind of high alert in the back of her mind.
Okay. Well, with that original 9, yeah, you don't notice anyone following you, and yeah, so many people come and go. With that, you're just kind of expecting this is fine. This is where we're at. So you're able to head back. And Ruby, you don't notice anything either.
Okay.
And you make your way back to the Oak and Steel. You approach the front doors, and the big oak barrel and the metal cast logo of the Oak and Steel sits before you.
Is Luna in the lobby, or is there anybody that looks familiar, like we've seen them previously, like they're lying in wait for us?
Have you gone inside? Are you opening the doors?
Sure. I'll
Okay.
push open the door.
Yeah, as you walk in, the barkeep behind the counter is cleaning some glasses and passing out some drinks to some folks sitting right up at the bar, and says, "Oh, welcome back. A bit of an early start today, but that's all right. Do we care for some more of the special?"
Maybe later. It
All
was
right.
very good though. Thank you.
Understood. And goes back to serving folks.
Upstairs?
Maybe they're upstairs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
upstairs.
upstairs.
I imagine we're going to Jarvis's room since we had all bunked in one room.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
cool.
Slumber party.
Okay.
Party.
Yes, so you approach the door to Jarvis's room, where you've all bunked in a single room for protection. Do you just walk in? Do you?
Nope. Ruby's gonna kind of rap on the door, like knock knock, kind of see if there's an answer, see if it's all right if we enter.
Okay, so you knock knock, and you hear, hello.
Okay. It's us, Jarvis. Is it all right if we come in?
Oh, excellent. Please proceed.
Open the door and walk in.
And you walk in, and Jarvis is sitting there and says, "Oh, Team 10, welcome back. It's a pleasure to see you."
Yeah, you too. It was kind of a weird trip, but good to see you.
Ah, a weird trip. Well, please tell me about it. I got a message from Luna that some travel was involved.
Yeah, we kind of went a little further than we thought, unintentionally. Kind of looks to Terex, who now has a tattoo.
Is that supposed to be there? Was it bad? Is that a good sign or a bad sign?
Is what?
The tattoo.
The tattoo? Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I was just doing reconnaissance, and I figured if we were trying to figure out what they were up to, it might be good to get a personal sample.
Oh, I see. That is indeed quite smart.
Thank you. I thought so too. Thought it was great. So I'm glad you agree.
Said that strangely. Did anyone else disagree?
No, just sometimes it's just self-doubt. Yeah, it's fine. I'm totally fine with the tattoo I have.
Understood. Well, I will let Luna know you have returned.
Yeah.
And he pulls out his scrap of paper and he writes down on it, "She was awfully worried and we had no idea where you were. We haven't heard from you in quite some time."
Wait,
What do you mean quite some time? How long has it been?
when did you last hear from us?
Well, it has been several hours since you all departed, as you left earlier this morning, and as you see, it is night.
Oh, good.
well-
I just thought you were going to say it was like we'd been
What?
gone for days or
Or
something.
like years.
That'd be quite a trip.
Oh,
That's-
no. I apologize. Just when I got the message from Luna that you had left with the targets, we had not heard from you. And so I sat here and waited for your return.
Right. It was all a part of the plan. So
And you got
we're
the
good.
message.
You got my message, right, Jarvis?
Message? No, I am unsure of what you're talking about.
I sent you a message letting you know that we were okay.
In what fashion?
On a paper from Cauldareen?
Oh, did you perchance... that would explain the mix-up. Did you perchance use the paper that I gave to you last time?
I believe so. I'm gonna reach into my pocket and pull out the paper I wrote on.
And that is, in fact, the other half of one of those sheets. The way the sheets work from Cauldareen is that a single sheet of paper is only connected to itself. So by tearing it in half and giving you half, his other half is the connected piece. And so every sheet that he tears is connected to something new. So he should have the other half of that, as he was the one who gave it to you.
I'm gonna kind of hold it. You sent me in this bag.
Oh, that... I am terribly sorry. I forgot to inform you, in the mix of all things, in my several-week pursuit of Altair and Bennett, I came across a strange anomaly and gave some of communication methods to a fellow scout. I thought because he may need to get in contact with Team 10, that would be best. There was a strange occurrence with Altair and Bennett, and I sent him to investigate.
Can I
But
make an insight check?
yeah, I was gonna
Same.
say I would also like to, but Ruby's gonna look at it. But this is your seal. Did you also give him your seal?
Oh, yes. I apologize. If he used that paper with my seal on it, you would see that signature in response. I assure that must mean he verified he was speaking to a proper person.
Jarvis, why didn't you tell us that the paper didn't work?
The paper does, in fact, work.
No, that you didn't that you didn't have the paper. The one thing that's a failsafe for if we actually get in trouble to contact you in case we're about to die again.
Oh, I assumed you were with Luna, who I have a paper too, and Luna would kill anything that threatened your lives.
Oh my god.
This is. I would like to also roll insight.
Yeah, I definitely want to roll an insight check on
Because
that.
this is
No,
oddly.
this all sounds legit. This is fine.
This is very odd of Jarvis, who is normally so well planned and so well on
Yeah.
top of things.
This is
Yeah,
not
go
a
right
good
ahead.
point.
I got
like
a 13.
like, this is the first time I've ever seen him slip up like this. Like that's the insight. Okay, cool.
Mine
Okay.
was 11.
There's an unnatural 20, 17
Hell yeah.
plus 3.
So yeah, with that unnatural 20, well, first off, with Hiccup and Terex, you're just a little like curious as to like, oh, why weren't we told of that? And Ruby, though, with an unnatural 20, it is sort of out of character a little bit, but it doesn't strike you, at least what you're getting from Jarvis is you are getting that this was he honestly calculated in this instance that whatever it was he sent for was more important.
Okay.
Like you are correct. Jarvis would not do something uncalculated. And in this instance, you are at least sitting on that thought, is Jarvis would not do something unless there were heavy calculations.
Okay.
So whatever reason he opted to give this away was for a purpose.
I'm trusting of Jarvis because as Ruby, but I'm gonna keep it kind of in the back of my mind if that's a little out of character. I don't.
Is there anything you want to ask him?
Jarvis,
Who was the person that you gave the paper to, and like what did they look like? Maybe we ran into them. They were also investigating Bennett.
Oh, well, unfortunately, I am unsure. If you were to write to them, we could see where he went. The person I gave it to was a newer scout. His name is Evera. Evera was sent to investigate the third person we noticed alongside Altair and Bennett. The two of them met when they first got to the city, and when we tracked them, Luna located them inside a abandoned building. And inside of said building, Luna could identify a third person was present, but could not find them. So we sent a scout to track the magic energy we sensed and sent them to discover who or what the two targets had met with.
and
We have not heard back yet, but your slip of paper should alert you if they have any news. Or you could simply write to Evera and ask.
also in the future, if you do sort of a pass around of things, we'd appreciate to be in the know on the front end.
Absolutely. I apologize. It was a split-second decision, but it was imperative that we knew who your targets were interacting with. Therefore, we could present further information.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to make a specific mental note of that it was a split-second decision, and Ruby's going to file that in the back of her mind.
Yeah.
Knowing that
Okay.
he normally is more calculated than that.
Okay.
Is Luna gonna be here soon, by chance?
Well, I gave her the symbol that you have returned. So I suppose if we wait, she should arrive. Or if we move anywhere, we do have direct contact that we can signal to her our location. Now,
Okay.
what happened on your journey? I was informed so far as to a descent to a location and then a fight. Then Luna lost you in a teleportation to the city of Eleanor, I believe.
Do you want us to
That
tell you the
sums it up.
story now, and repeat it later, or let's wait until Luna's here? But we can give you all the details either way.
It is up to you, however you wish to debrief.
I think maybe waiting
Whenever
for Luna would
we were-
be impertinent. That way we're all on the same page.
Excellent. We shall wait accordingly. So, you
can
all want to...
somebody tell Team 7? that we're
So we need
okay?
to well, they still we got her.
They'll figure it out.
That's why we were leaving, but like
They're fine.
No, they're fine. It's Team 7, full of attitude and
They
sass.
can just fly away.
They can just
Okay.
fly away.
So you all want to hang out and wait until Luna returns?
Yeah.
I believe so.
While we're waiting, I would like to get like Ruby, because I trust her eye the most, to like look over my tattoo and make sure it's like well done and like well designed, and like if I can at some point get a double mirror situation so I can see what's going on there.
Sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, you're good.
Yeah, it looks just like what you had envisioned, and it looks great.
Yeah,
It's actually very well
Kind of
done.
look. Oh, it's really well done.
Yeah.
Is there like a hand mirror in this room that I could pick up? Kind of. Yeah, that way you can look at a mirror and like.
Yeah.
There you
Yeah.
go. Cool. Do so that way you can look at it. Yeah, it's really well done.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah, no, it's great. Okay.
Still a little suspicious, but it looks nice.
Oh, it's suspicious as hell, but it's kind of fun though.
Margaret's trying to be nice. She's like, I mean, it looks nice, but also,
So
Listen, I've done worse.
Does anyone do anything else while you wait, or is that how we want to spend our time? Is just hanging out?
I'm gonna pace around and be paranoid.
Okay.
Hiccup is
I'm
gonna.
gonna go ahead and just for. Oh, sorry. Go for it.
Oh, he's just gonna meditate and vibe.
Okay.
By meditate, I mean disassociate.
Accurate.
In the meantime, I'm also gonna cast Detect Magic around, and see if there's anything unbecoming in the 30 feet next to us. There's been far too many magical uses recently, and I want to make sure that we're all clear, sort of thing.
Read me exactly what Detect Magic lets you see.
Abso-freaking-lutely. So Detect Magic, for the duration, which is 10 minutes, you sense the presence of magic within 30 feet of you. If you sense magic in this way, you can use your action to see a faint aura around any visible creature or object in the area that bears magic, and you learn its school of magic, if any.
Okay. So, yeah, go ahead.
No, I'll do my thing afterwards. I just remembered a thing.
So you detect the magic of the tattoo coming from Amelia, from Terex. You detect that, and the school of magic there. Oh God, what is the school of magic for command? Is that evocation? Enchantment.
Probably.
Yes. So you detect enchantment. You also detect the papers that you all have are sort of a form of illusion, that you're able to communicate with as sort of a form of illusion, and you detect a little bit of something interesting from Brutus. You get sort of a glimpse of like, it's hard to tell. It's this very interesting mixture of necrotic, and it's hard for you to determine exactly what's going on there because it's like three things sort of layered over one. And this is perhaps the first time you've seen that. You see nothing of note over in the rest of the room, but make a perception check for me.
Oh, yes, I would love to. Alrighty. Perception, baby. Come on, hit me with that good shit. Oh, damn. 11.
Okay. So, you do have this on, and it's a very low DC if you have Detect Magic on, because you're literally looking and seeing the essence of magic. And 11 is actually good enough. So you see a faint trace of magic on the outside of the window.
Okay. Am I able to tell what school that would be?
Yes, you see on the window, just faintly on the outside, the faint outline of a handprint. And you see necromancy.
Stress.
I'm gonna head on over to Brutus, who also had a hint of necrotic magic. And hey, Brutus, do you mind if we walk outside for a second?
Yeah, sure. Actually, needed to grab you anyway. You're still diseased, bro. I need to do some lay on hands on you.
Oh, I have that.
Someone remembered.
I have that written in big letters. It says Brutus healed hair from disease, and I literally read that and was like, I don't remember her doing that last episode.
I didn't do that last episode, so that would be perfect.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, let's go. And also, you don't look great. I mean, you look good, but you look ill. I can fix that.
That would be great. I don't think the fight agreed with me very much.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
The best.
Sure. Step outside.
Yeah. I don't mean to intrude, but you seem to be giving off some magic, and I only mention this because it matches the magic outside the window.
Sorry,
I
what?
think I sense some undead magic coming from you, and I don't.
Oh.
Your magic is your business. However, there seems to be magic very similar, or at least also undead in nature, right outside the window.
Necrotic, you said?
Yes.
Yeah. So, mine
Do
is.
you have a better way to sense it? All I can tell is that there is necrotic magic out there.
That's a great ask. Do I?
Something might have happened.
I
It's on the
do.
outside.
I do have. Well, I can sense an actual undead, not like the traces of them, but if there is one close by. Bruce gonna she kind of like, has her hand on her chin, is like, yeah, I've got something I can try. I may not pick up anything. My thing is unrelated. Probably, maybe, I don't know. But where we just came from, there was some necrotic undead sort of magic there too. So likely it's related to that. Now hold still, one moment. And this will hurt, I'm sorry. And she's like, this is going to hurt. I'm going to heal you, but it sucks. And her hand glows and she just like touches it to Tara's chest. And it's just like instantaneously for like 2 seconds, like the worst fever you have ever had. It's like having something cauterized. Like, it's awful. For like 2 seconds. But afterwards, you're not diseased anymore. That's her lay on hands.
I think I liked it better when I felt bad. Oh, God.
Sorry,
Yeah.
you'll feel better in a sec.
Yeah, and as it does fade, you start to breathe a little easier, and it does go away. And it's like a fever just broke, and whatever was inside of you was incinerated, and it is no longer ailing you.
Sorry.
Like
Wish my
after
healing weren't
finishing a
horrible.
long run when you're feeling a little congested and it's all broken up, it sucked on the run. But as you get done, you realize you've got breath.
There you are, looking better. Okay, let me
Thank you.
let me turn on my senses. Sorry, what?
I only just didn't bring this up inside yet because I was waiting until Luna comes in so I could bring it up with the others. So if you need to tell the others, there's no problem. I don't have any problems.
Okay. All right. Great. Let's head back in then, and I turn on my special eyes.
Okay, so you step back in.
Thank you for. Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
She's like, and thank you for I don't know, trusting me, telling me. Thanks.
Yeah, that's what teams are for.
Right. Yeah, I guess they probably should be, huh?
I think
That makes far more sense than some teams I've been a part of in the past. And she'll head back in.
All right, what do you do when you come in?
Right, folks, we've got some weird magic outside the window apparently, so pardon me while I turn on my eyes. And I'm gonna use Divine Sense and get the molten metal eyes and see what I pick up. May not pick up anything. So you detect good and evil. You can sense anything affected by the hollow spell or know the location of any celestial fiend or undead within 60 feet that is not behind total cover. So may not pick up anything, but I'm gonna give it a shot. Give it all that I got.
I was about to do that. I'm so
What's TikTok?
So you look around and you're looking at the windows, and you get the same sense as to what Tare told you. They told you that it was necrotic energy that they saw. You don't see the handprint like they saw, but you at least get that sensation of an amount of necrotic energy was just outside the window, or it was outside the window, and that to you, you're supposed to see the creatures themselves, not the residual energy they leave behind, unless it was an amount. And so you definitely get this sense of accumulation of necrotic energy outside this window. And also, you have Divine Sense on right now, yes?
Yes.
You sense an undead in the room.
It's not me.
I like that.
It's the elephant in
But
the
Not
room.
if
you.
I'm not the undead and you're not the undead,
If
then
I'm
who's driving the Jarvis?
In the room? Oh, jeez.
Do you look to see who it is?
Yes, but I'll put my deception skills to good use. Play it real cool. Just sort of glance over like I'm thinking.
And as you glance over, you see Tare and Jarvis sitting. Jarvis sitting on the bed still, and the detection, it's not pinging there. It's still coming from behind you. And you look and you see Ruby and you see Hiccup. And again, everything seems to be fine. And then you look over and you take a look at Terex, and you recognize a fair amount of undead energy coming from Terex.
Oh, I'm gonna. I mean, that tracks to Brutus's mind, honestly. Like, I did, or rather, Oliver did help me drag her soul back into her body, so it's not like traditional fully bringing back. So that sort of makes sense. I'm gonna let that sit for a bit. Deal with that later.
Just file that away for now.
Brutus like does a quick calculation of like,
That's a
is
thing
this-
we can use for later.
is this
Put a
critical
pin on that.
information that
Well,
I
the
need
rest
to
of the
convey
team
to
doesn't
everyone
need to know that.
right this second? No, probably not. Wait, actually, I guess I wasn't really looking at her before. I had Divine Sense on since she's come back, but I wasn't really like checking her out specifically. Yeah, I'm gonna play it cool for this moment. But yeah, Bruce is gonna like kind of turn back and be like, well, okay, this is distressing, it is. So I can see the undead energy outside this window too, but I shouldn't be able to unless they're physically present. So whatever left this had to have been, I don't know, very powerful, overwhelmingly undead. Like, are there different levels of how undead you can be? Because whatever this was, very. Gotta kind of look at everybody like, so.
No, you literally came in the room, said, "Okay, we're sending some magic." Let's
Yep.
use my special eyes.
And then just like turned on my
Yeah,
special eyes, and
the
it's like,
other three
okay,
of
so
us
we
are
got some.
Yeah, and the other three of us are sitting here going,
What?
"Did we miss something?"
Yes.
He looks
just-
very confused that you're just
That
No.
might explain
this window.
that sensation. I previously did feel as if I was being monitored, but I could not detect anyone.
When did you feel like you were
Um,
being monitored?
Within my stay here, within the last 2 weeks, I have been concerned about such, but Luna checked it out and confirmed there was no one here. And it stopped after the altercation with Altair and Bennett that we sent our scout to investigate.
We should follow it. The energy, that is.
Yeah,
We can
that
see
trace.
it. Yeah.
Well,
trace
what you
back to where it
see,
came from.
yeah, what you see is a hand. What Tear saw is the like remnants of a handprint on the window, and you kind of just get that glow on the glass of it. But you don't see it like outlined exactly how he does, because he's just like, I see the magic, and you see like, oh, it was out the window at least.
Got it. So not necessarily something I could follow.
I mean, you can definitely like look into that.
Sweet. Well, while we're waiting on Luna, I think Brutus will at least go outside and see if like there's a trail of energy that leads off somewhere.
Take a buddy.
Right.
And I'll go as well.
I was
Buddy
gonna say
system.
I could volunteer, but Tara, if you want to be the travel buddy, that is also fine.
Hiccup
I
could
can,
go
I
too
can
if you
see if
wanted
I
to
can
tag
find
along.
any more magic out there.
Yeah. Hiccup can do arcana stuff. Maybe he can be useful.
Yeah.
Maybe he can sniff it out. I don't know. Worth a try.
So, okay, are the three of you going outside? Okay.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Brutus, Tear, and Hiccup head outside. What do you do out there? What are you doing?
Let's go find the window and maybe take a look on the outside.
Yeah, that was my thinking.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, so you want to take a window look from the outside. You've still got detect magic on, right?
Yes, it
10
lasts
minutes?
for 10 minutes.
Yeah, this didn't take that long. You decided to use the last couple of minutes to quickly get outside and get a look. And you get outside and you look up and you can see that handprint and then just like little particles almost of it still lingering just outside, and then what looks like just a few more of them going in an upward trajectory, up and away.
I think we might have better luck over at the roof. Seems like they were going up.
It looks like they
Jacob
went
looks
up
up and
and
it's just-
away from the building. So, like, you're able to, from where you are, like, it passed up and over you and just kept going above the city, and you kind of lose sight of particles or anything as it gets high enough that you wouldn't be able to track.
It was a bird.
I mean, we know a few, but I don't think they would have anything to do with this.
Well, I think they might. We saw a lot of weird creatures that seemed very similar to what Charmin could do.
Yeah.
I want to ask
And-
Luna. Luna might know. I don't know if Jarvis would, but is there somebody else that can do what Charmin can do?
Yeah.
Charwin.
Charwin, sorry.
Yep, no problem.
My
Get
bad.
us copyright infringement.
Oop. They also,
Oh, and then we have the Charwin bear.
Hiccup will
Thank
also
you.
add. Also, with magic, if I can make things levitate, then I'm pretty sure people can make themselves or each other fly.
Right. That makes
Very
sense.
Yeah.
If I could learn to fly. Probably
I
not.
mean, if I figure it out, I'll teach you.
Yeah,
Can't
tell me
promise
some-
anything.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, we'll figure something out.
Okay,
So I guess
so
we'll
yeah,
head back
you-
inside.
Okay.
Flying lessons with Hiccup will be in the future.
Uh,
And I think I actually do. Sorry, one last thing. I think I actually do want to try to roll. I don't know what it would be like to remember. So I turned on my divine sense when we were in the trickery land, going to like check out the tattoos, and that's when I picked up the undead energy before that led me to the door. Do I remember sensing like another undead close by? Like I'm trying to suss out if like Terex has felt undead like before and I just like wasn't paying attention, or if like this is new, because it determines sort of how I handle it.
Yeah. So what I'll say to this is you would have had it on then and you were looking. And so you can at least theorize that it wasn't, if you had noticed it, it was perhaps shrouded over by the energy that was in that place.
Got it.
If it was shrouded, it perhaps has gotten more so. It has perhaps increased.
Okay. Interesting. He's turning into a zombie. Okay, it's fine.
I
Alright.
mean, we made the zombie Terex jokes earlier after she first got brought back.
Yeah, you guys manifested this for my precious D&D character. I am wholeheartedly
Okay.
distraught by the course of events that I've taken.
Miss, okay, everything's a vampire.
Oh, I wish Terrence was a vampire. I wish. Oh no, no, I don't. Course,
I was gonna say, are you sure you want to
Jesus,
say
right
that?
now. Right now. Say psych.
Okay, so you have that thought, but you all get back inside, and is that the kind of conclusion there of this investigation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And a little bit of time goes by, and then eventually there is a coded knock at the door, and Jarvis says, "Come in," and in walks Luna, and Luna walks in and says, "Ah, got the message y'all were all right. Lost track of you out there, and I got a little worried."
We were not expecting to go where we went. Sorry.
Yeah,
It was a
I,
little hard to send you that signal with where we wound up. Yeah, sorry.
I noticed City of Eleanor. Ended up there myself after following you, and that was quite a trip. A
Mhm.
little bit interested in all of that there, but luckily Team 7 was able to locate you and get a message out to me. that y'all were all right, and Jarvis told me to head on back. Got a posture and a hydrate.
Oh.
Thank you.
So, what happened? Did you find what you were looking for?
Well,
We found plenty of interesting things.
More, yeah.
Tarek
I
shows
got-
off the tattoo.
I got a present for us.
Is that one of them?
Yeah.
Now, it's not going to drop a meteorite on this town, is it?
Guess
We
we'll have to
hope
find
not.
out. You'll have to kill me
I
first.
hope not.
We probably should, have somebody who's good with magic check it out, make sure it really has the effect it's supposed to have, right?
Yeah, I'm afraid if I use it, it'll go away. So, kind
Yeah.
of want to save that.
we use it. If we listen to what the individuals who put it on Tarek said, it's supposed to be command.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of enchantment. Not bad. We should get that back. Is there anything else?
Yeah. So a weird room. There is a map, and there were pins on it in different places, and the pins sort of had this undead, necrotic sort of energy surrounding them. I don't know what it means. It was just weird, though.
All right, want to file that one away. Weird map, necrotic energy, loving that. Not really.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah.
Not really my favorite thing to hear on this. Okay. Where did you go? You went to obviously Eleanor, but what was the purpose? What happened?
We went to one of their warehouses.
To
one of?
talk
One of
shop.
theirs. I
Their
guess it's probably their. I mean, they made it sound like they could reach us wherever we wanted stuff, so I'm assuming they at least have people located elsewhere.
It's
Or
basically an
I guess they
assembly
could
line.
just have. Yeah, they could teleport elsewhere. So I guess we went to what is probably their headquarters.
If not their
Undercover as buyers.
Yeah, we also met one of their other clients.
head-
I have a feeling she's going to be a problem later, but that's not the most crucial thing. They gave us.
Sorry, you go ahead.
Oh, what were you saying?
She's from the Cult of Order. That
Hmm.
woman.
Nasty bunch they are.
Yeah, they are.
Hiccup just tilts his head to the bit and just goes, I have no idea who they are, but I will take your word for it, and gives me more of a reason to kill her.
Either bad news, basically.
Noted. I mean, I already got red flags from her when she asked about putting them on children and animals, but we'll definitely keep that in mind. At least we now know one of the other buyers, but we did get a little bit of a tour of their factory and kind of saw their process on how they make the ink and how they distribute it. And we saw some beings. Well, I didn't see it. One of us saw some beings very similar to Sharwin working there. Didn't look like. And correct me if I'm wrong, Twinkle.
Sharwin's creations, not Sharwin. So
Yes.
Yeah. And I
And
don't think they're
Jarvis
there
stands up.
willingly.
Jarvis stands up immediately. And Luna looks to Jarvis. And then back to you. What do you mean they look like Sharwin's creation?
they looked like the plant bear that Sharwin had, except different shade. We didn't think to check the magic to see if it was similar or not, but at least in appearance they looked similar.
I think it is worth considering that perhaps there has been some sort of infiltration of Cauldareen itself. I mean, if the tattoos are our magic and their guardians look like the magic of one of our people. It seems like they have access to our camp and our information.
I recall that the tattoos were pioneered from Cauldareen.
Exactly.
So definitely got some sneaky sneaks going on in there.
The ink definitely looked symbiotic. It's kind of like recall a good word of what it looked like when they were making these vats.
I'll. Both of you just exchanged a very worrisome look there. Is there something or someone we need to know about? Is there someone else that can do what Sharwin can do?
No one can do what Sharwin does. Frankly, Sharwin shouldn't be able to do what Sharwin does. Sharwin's an anomaly. But we need to get home now. And she immediately grabs her weapons and begins cocking them and loading them. And she straps up and says, "Jarvis, please handle the exodus. We'll be taking on leave immediately." And
Before we do, Luna, I just wanted to let you know that there was an undead print on the outside that somebody was watching this place, most likely, in case that was something you needed to look at now before we leave.
And you tell this to Luna, and she looks around the room. "Jarvis." And he says, "I do believe it might have been the presence we detected." And she says, "We're well aware." She says, "We're well aware. Thank you. But clearly, left an impression." And she reaches forward and she pulls out a piece of chalk and she draws a special symbol all over the door very quickly. And as she does, you recognize Ruby recognizes an emergency sigil. And as she draws that, the door starts to creak and moan and crack. And then she reaches forward and she grabs the handle and she turns it and opens the door, which no longer leads to a hallway. It leads to a stone room. And she steps right through.
Follow.
Okay. Hiccup, you follow?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
All right. Everybody else?
Derek's is probably the last one through the door.
Absolutely.
Okay. And yeah, as you go through the door, Jarvis says, "I will be along shortly. I will handle the cleanup here first and then report back." And Jarvis shuts the door.
Right before you close it, I'll be like, "Be safe."
Of course. And he shuts it. And the glow from the door vanishes. And you find yourself in a stone room. And Luna is making her way right through the door. And she stops in the middle of this empty room. And there is a ladder that leads up. And she starts climbing that ladder. And as she gets there, she throws open a hatch at the top of said ladder, and you can see light coming through. And she, just a little bit of light given off by some, it's not natural light. It's like magic or something. And she climbs up there and crawls out of that immediately and says, "Come along, y'all. We've got to make this quick."
Right.
Gonna just quietly follow.
Yep.
And as you climb up this ladder, and as you come out of this hatch, you realize that it is ground level to the entrance of Cauldareen. And she has used an emergency entrance to immediately get back. And as she has made her way through an open field area, there is a special sort of connection to that emergency symbol sheet that only the higher ups have access to. And as she steps forward, it's a different sort of layout than where you all teleport out to places. And she says, hold on. She withdraws her rifle and she takes a shot to her left. Then she steps forward and she holds it. And she points straight up and pulls the trigger, and an arrow flying overhead snaps in two. All right, let's advance. And she puts the rifle back over her shoulders, and having given her passcode upon entry, she enters. Anyone unable to pull off the shot that Luna just did would be seen as a phony and a fraud.
Every time Luna does anything, it
I just fall
cements the
more
fact
and
that
more
she's
in
a
love with
badass.
Luna.
I just love her.
I just love her so much.
Oh, God.
Luna Featherbox, y'all.
I love her.
Make it quick. And she advances now with those in tow, able to follow. And you all follow Luna?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we don't need to do our entry thing because that's like her bringing
Yes.
us in. Okay, cool.
And as she advances through this, she takes you into Cauldareen, and she heads immediately for Kagor's head office. And again, another stone building with metal accents. It's not the biggest building in the all of Cauldareen. It's a moderately sized. It's size only due to the fact there are several offices within this building. And as they open the doors for Luna approaching, she walks in, and those of you following see two guards step out of the way as she enters. And there is a woman sitting cross-legged on the floor. As you approach, you can tell this seems to be this is an older gnome, and she sits there cross-legged on the floor, eyes closed, seeming to meditate. And Luna approaches and says, here to speak with Kagor. Quite urgent. And this gnome stands up off of the floor, and there's no desk in here. There's no check-in. There is just her sitting in the middle of the room. And as Luna enters and gives who they're here to speak with, that person stands up and walks away. And as she does, another comes out and takes their spot seated on the floor. And that first woman you see walk away goes to a door, and she knocks and opens it and steps inside and closes the door. Moments later, Kagor steps out and says, yes. Welcome back. What seems to be the hurry, Luna? And Luna advances and says, I think it's best if Team 10 tells you. And ushers for you all to step inside of Kagor's office.
Pressure all on Team 10.
Yeah.
All on the leader of Team
What's
10.
the matter, Corsa? You don't want to sit there and talk to yourself?
Welcome to the DM puppet show.
I will follow, I'm sure. We're not
Yes.
going to tell him no.
And so as you all get inside, you step inside of Kagor's office, and interesting contraptions are all throughout the room. Little metal swivels spinning on what looks like an hourglass, but the bits of sand are falling into a larger pool of a bigger base than is on top. And they are falling, making their way around the bottom and back up to the top, almost in an infinity loop. There are little mechanical things, like one of the spiders that crawls the treetops of Cauldareen, sitting up in the top corner of his office. And of course, his large black dog, Sarah, sitting off in the corner, sleeping on what is clearly a very comfortable bed.
There's
Hell
best
yeah.
baby.
And as you step inside, Luna shuts the door, and Kagor says, all right, I sense a lot of paperwork coming, so just go ahead and get it out there. Say it. It's all right. Who did you kill?
I
Well-
immediately look at Ruby.
Excuse me, I did not kill anyone. I'm also gonna have to write paperwork.
No, he's more like looking at you expectantly as if expecting you to say
I'm also
what
gonna have
happened.
to write paperwork. That realization. And she will launch into an explanation of this is where we went. This is what we found. Gesturing at one point to Terex and the tattoo that is now on the back of her neck. We'll make sure to highlight the fact that Ter is the one who noticed the vine-like creatures that strongly resembled Sharwin. And we'll say that last. Since Luna and Jarvis seem to have such an adverse reaction, I will put that on last.
And you see a very concerned look go across his face. Okay. Paperwork, gonna be that kind of day. All right. Well, this is not technically my problem. This is a Sharwin problem. Yep. Gonna have to pass the buck on this one.
Who does the
Just
leader of Cauldareen pass the buck to?
Yeah, I'm definitely leader. Got that part. Absolutely. Solid.
The buck doesn't
This one's-
stop with you.
This one's a little bit out of my hands. And he reaches over and he grabs a wooden bell. And he shakes it back and forth. And just a slight tap, 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 tap happens as he jingles this bell back and forth. And nothing seems to happen. It makes just a little clacking sound. And he sets it down.
You need a new bell.
And moments later, you hear someone outside. You hear a and
Maybe not.
you hear some people go, yes, absolutely. Yep, sorry, I got the bell. And the door opens to Kagor's office, and in steps Sharwin. And out behind her, you can see Taglin, the bear, sitting on his haunches, just in the lobby. You rang?
Maybe we'll do a little wave.
And she goes, "Oh, Team 10, hello. How good to see you."
I
Great to see you.
So, Kagor, you call? And Kagor leans forward and says, Sharwin, are there any active trees currently? And she's like, well, of course not, silly. You know I tell you that sort of thing. Yes, I believed you would. That's what you do best. Well, our friends here seem to have seen a couple of thralls of a different variety. And there is a charge of electricity and energy that runs throughout Sharwin's body. And her demeanor shifts a little bit. And she looks over to you, Team 10, and says, that shouldn't be possible.
Ter was the one who originally saw them. He
Didn't
he may
possibly.
be more accurate in description than I.
I mean, I didn't at least check any magic of sorts to compare to your magic, they did look relatively similar. I think the pines and the overall shape, but the colors were different. And colors surprisingly mean a lot with magic. So I figured it wasn't. I Is it possible for somebody to, yes, corrupt any of your thralls, was it?
Hmm. No, not somebody.
Something.
Well, I suppose it's only fitting that it's Team 10 again. And she smiles and looks to Kagor and nods, and he says, yeah, sure, why not? It's always 10, why not? And he's just kind of like, yep. And she steps inside, and she looks back and goes, Taglin, stay. And she shuts the door. And you hear Taglin out there.
Sweet baby.
As he just kind of
Baby.
slides down onto the floor and curls up outside
Adorable,
the door.
soulless baby.
I love him.
And Sharwin says, all right, let's do the Cliff Notes version. I am a very particular being. I am comprised of two things. One of them is a person, and the other is a thing. So, I originally have been here for a long, long time. And I am, well, perhaps it's best I show you all. And she looks to Kagor and he says, yep, go ahead. And he just kind of like steps up onto his desk and kind of pulls his feet off the floor. And he says, I suppose I'll see you all later, as the floor gives out underneath you all. And it just starts to go downwards. And you all sort of slip down into almost like a slide-like action as Sharwin just woo, through an opening in the floor that seems to open, and all of the vines along the wall and the creation, it looks like her. And she slides all the way down to this and drops. And as she does, she drops into a beautiful garden. And you all come tumbling out, but you land softly as she ensured that your location was a patch of vines and flowers. And before you is a massive tree. And throughout this whole space, there are creatures moving that look like Taglin. There are deer and rabbits and birds floating around in this underground oasis. There is light. There is a small stream running by. And these animals are moving about and grazing, and some are tending to the tree itself. And she says, well, pleasure to officially meet you.
You're not good at warnings, are you? Like getting up after sliding.
What do you mean officially meet us?
This is the form I walk about in.
I look at the tree and it says, that's you.
Treacle.
Yes. And you, my dear friend, might understand the most. Hiccup. I was a sorcerer. And still am. But I was consumed by something like this. This is called a Gulthius tree.
I'm writing that down.
And it is what happens when a creature of great evil, typically the undead type, dies, and its blood poisons the ground around it and can give sentience and power to a tree. And if it's strong enough, its life energy creates a hateful, vengeful, twisted thing like this. Not exactly like this. This is different. I was consumed by one, and in my death, my magic surged inside of me. And in some weird, unexplained coincidence, its attempt to consume me, in turn, I consumed it. And I became a living, breathing, walking Golthius tree.
I look at Tear and I just go, our promise just got a lot weirder.
And
Yeah.
the creatures you see around are what happen when something dies in the presence of a Golthius tree. I don't kill anything. My essence is very different than the tree I was taken from. I believe I changed the properties, but if a Golthius tree sprouts, it will create entities like these that are much more sinister, whose whole job is to hunt down and bring things, people or creatures, back to feed the tree. And in turn, it will produce more, keep bringing back and more, and gain energy. If you saw something like me, you saw scouts that should be retrieving people and returning them to a tree, but you said they were working in a factory?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They were making more of those tattoos.
That doesn't... Unless they're feeding the tree, it doesn't make sense. Unless they were under control, but that still means the presence of a tree. And
Is there any way these tattoos are siphoning magic from people as well?
I was about to ask the same thing.
Feeding it to the
Yeah.
tree?
I was gonna say, how do we know they're not feeding people to the tree?
Because Terex, you're feeling a little more undead than you probably have been
What?
in the past. Yeah, I was waiting for the
What?
right moment to...
What?
The
Wait,
Well,
what do
undead
you
or the
mean?
dead?
She's looking-
I just
Ruby's like, what do you mean she's looking a little more undead than normal?
Well, I sort
we
of thought it
just
was
had
maybe...
a conversation about sharing information when you get information.
I know,
what
I
happened
just...
to teamwork?
I thought that it might...
No, Ruby, genuinely, what happened to teamwork? Are we a team or not?
I don't. Okay.
No, it's fine. It's not. I know you're just trying to be. There's a lot I'm dealing with, and maybe my soul's being siphoned off to feed an evil tree.
Yes.
I understand you are doing what you thought was best in the situation. I've been working
I will say
on this.
we
I'm
did only
getting-
just find that out like what, an hour ago?
An hour
so
ago.
It wasn't like
Oh.
days ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
this is new information. And
Bruce looks
it's
very
taken some
stressed.
time to think about it.
Okay. Are you sure it doesn't have anything to do with,
No, I'm not sure about that.
Okay.
Which is why I took a moment to think about it. Plus, also not totally sure, wasn't totally sure at the time if perhaps, there's someone infiltrating Cauldareen. Figure keep information that might potentially get you, taken away or experimented
Yeah.
on or some crazy thing like that. Just maybe not say it in large groups of people.
I do appreciate that. And that does bring up a question. Shalwyn, you've been here longer than anybody else. Is there, some sort of alternative to the clan of Cauldareen? Someone who watches the Watchers, that sort of thing? Something that rivals them?
No, there really isn't that I know of. Obviously, there you got your cults and you've got your dangerous entities, but
Mm.
I'm sorry, but if there is another tree, there is probably a dead vampire. And
Are you a vampire?
well, that was what made the tree that ate me was and so if someone has killed one, I think it best to talk to the one who's killed the most I know of. I believe you need to come and meet someone. And she says, warning this time. And the ground just lifts. And that's all she said was, warning this time. And it just begins to lift you up again. And but this time it goes in a different direction. And it moves over. And there begins to be some shaking and traversing through the ground. She seems to be connected and able to control the earth under here at will. At least wherever you've seen her, she is moving and controlling the earth and the plant life around her at will. And she rises you up and you begin to shake. And as things are opening up, again, the floor opens. And you enter into light, but not much. As you are inside an office and candlelight still burns as someone sits working away at a desk. Around you, there are books piled up and stacked aside. There are papers. There are all sorts of interesting things until the person looks up. And behind them, you see a sword hanging on the wall and the hilt of another sword crossed above it. Hello there, Daisy dear. I wanted to just pop in and introduce you to the new Team 10. How are you doing, dear? And an older woman sitting behind the desk looks up, seeing Sharwin and a group of intruders in her office, and says,
"Why are you here?"
Sharwin has just brought all of you up into another office and said, hey, Daisy, had some people I thought you ought to meet. How are you?
Who could I possibly need to meet?
Well.
Oops is looking
10.
around at the people who have, like, come into her office. She does not look pleased.
And Sharwin turns and says, well, this is Team 10.
Oh, so you're the new ones. How's that going for you?
Shit.
Rough.
Seems par for the course. But why are you in my office?
We don't know.
The tree brought us here.
Undead
Supposedly-
stuff. We're here to talk
Tree?
about
Do you-
undead stuff.
Do you know stuff about vampires?
Sharwin.
Do I know
Sharwin
stuff
may-
about vampires?
Yes.
Sharwin
Sharwin,
may-
Do you know
who are
stuff
these
about
clowns?
vampires?
Ruby's like, Sharwin may have mentioned that you have hunted the most vampires.
It's true.
Well, they may have found a couple thralls out and about.
Yeah.
Thralls.
Why don't you explain this to her?
Yeah, I was going to ask, when you killed any of those vampires, did they turn into a super evil tree that wants to make tattoos that eat people's souls?
Ruby's like, Terex, maybe don't sound so accusing.
I'm
maybe.
not accusing of anything. If I'm accusing someone, they'll know I'm accusing them.
Okay, it was coming out a little strong.
Oops is just watching this exchange.
Point
No.
is, they're
I-
vampires,
okay.
so yeah.
Well, there's no vampire if there's a tree because the vampire is dead. So
Right. But there could be like other vampires that aren't the tree vampire, because I don't know, they have like friends, right?
I guess rather what we're looking for is information about how somebody could potentially control one of these trees, or perhaps if they have their own independent will and could continue carrying out plans despite their tree state. These thralls, as far as we could tell, were not grabbing people to feed to the tree, unless
What
they
were
were
they
doing it via
doing?
these tattoos. Working in a factory.
Making tattoo soup.
Making ink.
working in a factory?
Yeah.
Gotcha. A magic tattoo factory, yes.
Where was this factory?
And
The name somewhere.
was it
Eleanor.
Eleanor?
Eleanor.
So just like in the middle of a city?
Well, like not like out in the open, but you know, it's like
Underground.
through grass,
Well-
way underground, secrets, travel, hush hush stuff.
Corso, is it in the middle of a city? Eleanor's the capital, so I
Yeah, yeah,
assume
yeah.
Oops
It
would
is. It is
know.
a capital.
Yeah, yeah.
That's-
Yeah,
Yeah. So it's in the middle of a big city.
so there's no forest around it.
Not
So
to
the
our
tree
knowledge.
isn't there.
It wasn't in the factory, it
there-
didn't seem like.
Unless it's underground
Is
somehow.
there a physical limitation?
Well, this
on where,
tree's
like,
underground.
thralls can go? Fair.
Hmm.
That's a good question.
This factory was in Eleanor. Is this the only one?
Only one that we know of, I think.
We're not fully sure, but we got there through teleportation. So
There was also that map
Yeah, it sounds
that
like
you saw.
there was
Right.
more than one, most likely. However, we're not sure of their whereabouts.
yes, and there was this map inside an office sort of space, marked with pins that had sort of this undead energy around them. So I don't know if that could be other factories or what that meant, but
That does seem likely. But, so, which of you got the tattoo? You haven't told Oops that one of you has the tattoo, but like Oops just knows.
just assumes.
We
Points to
look like some
Terex.
dumbasses who would get the tattoo.
Yeah, we do. Points to Terex, kind of
Okay.
gesturing.
This is advanced.
That's like really detailed.
Yeah. It's actually kinda
Like I said,
cool.
looks great.
Yeah.
So we have magic tattoos that were stolen from Cauldareen. We have a possible vampire tree that does something similar to the strongest person or entity in Cauldareen. And we have possibly a lost scout. I'm still
Everyone make a
worried about
perception
Amara.
check.
Possibly lost scout.
Not Oops, but only all the other people who are in Oops's office right now. Make a
Okay.
perception check.
17.
I have a
I swear,
question.
if there's a
as
pulsing vampire heart,
I have a question as well. Would Ruby know of Daisy at all, or is this an individual I've never seen or heard of?
Roll
I'll roll my perception and then I'll roll my history.
Yeah, roll your history check to determine that. But let me get everyone's perception real
Okay.
quick.
I
got a 12.
Perception.
All right, we got a 10, we got a 12. You said a 25, Moose?
yeah, baby.
Damn, I got a
Okay.
15.
15. And what'd you get, Amelia?
17.
All right, so Ruby Ter, and Terex, the three of you, on your own time, happen to notice throughout this office. Well, actually, you know what I'm about to describe. So, Abby, tell them a little bit about what the office looks like. I said it was a little in disarray, and then we'll explain the item that I'll explain if you want the item they're looking at.
Also, what does Oops look like?
Yeah, tell us what
So-
Oops looks like.
Oops is a tall old woman. She is in her like 60s. Her hair is going slightly gray. It's in a loose braid. And she has like really intense eyes. I don't know. So Oops's office is a mess, obviously. She because we said that. But Oops has books open over every surface. There are maps on the walls. You know that picture of the guy like from that show where he's like freaking out and they're like the
Conspiracy
Space
theory.
Sylvia
Yeah.
wall from Always Sunny. I am very familiar.
that, but like scale it back just a hair, but not much. So Oops appears to have been to be looking for something, like based on like is into tracking basically. Oops in the clan of Cauldareen is like on rank of Luna Featherbox. Is a solo like agent, can go off and do things on her own, so has like her projects, and that's all over the office. You will notice under the two swords on the wall, there is a picture in a frame of how many people?
5.
Five people. One is clearly Oops. One is Kagor. One is Anafe. And you don't know the other two.
Oh, Team 10.
And that photo is only noticed by Terex, and Ruby.
That's the thought that goes through her head is, oh, Team 10. On
Actually, sorry, with that 25, Ter, I will tell you one thing about the photo. The two you do not recognize are an Earth Genasi and a half-elf.
On a history check, I rolled a 16, 15 plus 1.
Yes, you do recognize a rank 5 member, Oops, who, again, you've seen them around, and they are an old member of Anafe's team, and Anafe was Team 10.
That picture just confirms in Ruby's mind what she already suspected. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
So there are thralls in this factory, and they're just working on the tattoos.
Correct.
Grinding the stuff, making potions,
It
doing
would-
various things.
And there's no tree nearby. In theory. 'Cause there's
Unless
a
it's
forest.
Far underground or something.
It would have to be a very powerful vampire for another tree with that capabilities.
If they get there through teleportation, is it possible that you could have a portal somewhere there, or like if people can travel between, could energy, like, you know, it's not actually close by, but magically it is close by? Would that make sense?
It's a possibility. I don't know if you've noticed, a lot of strange things happen in this world.
Very,
Just a lot.
yeah.
Stairs at hand. A lot.
And
mean, I
out of
suppose-
this world.
Cauldareen wouldn't really be needed if there weren't, so tracks.
As we are standing in the office of a vampire hunter and a tree person. A tree person.
Do you say that out loud?
No. No. Ruby is too intimidated by the individual in front of them and respectful to say anything of the sort. She wants to, though.
Oh, Tarek's good.
So right now, Charwin chimes in and says, typically, if another tree sprouts up, something that we didn't know before is that one tree can recognize the existence of another. Well, usually it seems, because I know when another tree begins to sprout, and we typically send someone to deal with that. But to get to a point to have thralls would need to be operating outside of my range, and I've never been known to have one.
How often does this happen?
How often does a
tree.
vampire or
No,
a
like a
undead get killed
tree.
enough to come into a tree?
Yes.
Killed
Not
enough.
very.
Not, it's not. Maybe once a decade.
All right. Well, looks like our decade is up.
And this last one, like, just start timing.
It could be another plane, a different. Be not to feel it or not to sense it.
There is certainly something at work that's preventing Sharwin from
A hidden-
noticing.
And they sense you.
A hidden garden.
Well, that would...
Question
It's a
In a
bad
way,
garden.
probably. They may share that connection to my presence. Our location is hidden here, as you understand, but without the sentience of being like I am, it couldn't do anything about it. To my understanding, it's like knowing you're not alone in the world, except I would rather be alone in the world in my regards.
Right, but if it did have your sentience, if a sorcerer vampire fell into a tree or something other weird anomaly happened, there could be an evil vampire tree that knows exactly where you are enough to send someone here to figure out the secrets of Cauldareen, right?
Because...
Well, that escalated quickly.
even... Sharon, you've mentioned that Cauldareen is hidden. It's not unreasonable to assume that if someone has infiltrated Cauldareen, that they might have developed something similar as to hide the presence of this tree.
If you were like me, you couldn't set foot on this soil. Not
You could
without
send-
me knowing and kindly escorting you off the premises.
I'm sure.
But they could
Okay.
send someone, right? I mean, for all we know,
Hmm.
like I could have been sent by someone to steal secrets or something. Anyone else could have.
Oh, exactly. And I think
Oops
that,
is just gonna cock
this
an
doesn't-
eyebrow.
Yeah, I was also
At
kind of a
Terex.
side glance. Didn't like that comment at all.
Definitely Kagor's cousin.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I don't know where Tarek's was before this.
Who does? I don't know where Terex was before it. She
theory
was just
here.
vibing, just
Tara, what
doing
are you
cousin
saying?
shit.
What's Tara saying?
A theory here. What if an enemy of Cauldareen became a vampire and was angry enough to be, whenever they died, they became a tree, and whenever the anomaly happened, they figured out a way to entice people to bring them into Cauldareen to sneak in, or maybe they were the ones that had the secrets and have been sneaking it out.
At this,
Is there
Oops.
anyone that would fit?
Oops is going to pause and look at Sharwin very, sharply.
And Sharwin is 100% going to look back at you. And then she's going to shrug.
So that's a yes.
What's that?
I'm going to say that Terror may have a very probable theory. Is there someone who fits that description that we may be dealing with?
Is it? I hope it's not one of the other 5. The other
Is
4.
unlikely, but altogether possible.
Is there
Right.
someone you may have dealt with? Ruby is trying to remain very
you-
respectful,
Do you want
but
to
also
keep
want
sharing?
answers.
Do you
I
want to keep sharing information? Do we need to pull it out? Like, come on. I have a Soul Eating
Ruby's
tattoo
like-
on my neck.
Ruby's over here trying to
It's
remain
not
respectful.
eating your soul, I don't think.
Maybe just
Okay.
your life energy.
Sharwin.
Well, if that's all, then that's
Whenever
totally
a
fine. I don't know why
vampire
I'm
is
freaking
killed-
out about it.
Does the tree grow where the vampire is killed, Sharwin?
Yes, where its blood touches and poisons the ground, its hate, its energy, it's what poisons it and gives life to this thing.
So one found Cauldareen before?
You
Mm,
did you?
No.
Did either of
Sorry,
you
go
kill
ahead.
the vampire? Do you know where that could be?
we didn't kill the vampire. There is. Sorry, I have to ask Corso something.
Mhm. I was like, Ruby's trying very hard to remain respectful, but also get answers. She's like,
Don't worry,
Oh!
Terex
I'm about
is
to get
here
murked.
to
I was
ask
gonna say,
questions for you.
this is why Ruby has Terex, because somebody has to be like, okay, look,
You're lucky Ruby's
And
holding me
back
back.
and
Okay.
you're lucky.
Vicious.
Hold me
Okay.
back.
Okay,
Oh
okay.
my
I
God,
just had to clarify a detail.
Mhm.
Back
I
in the
appreciate it.
scene.
I
Very
would
much.
hold Ruby would hold Terex back, and then Breedus would come up and hit him anyways. Um,
We haven't killed a vampire that turned into a tree. I have noticed in my recent dealings, several of the vampire royal knights have been going missing.
There are vampire.
I
royals?
would
A vampire kingdom?
Yeah, it's a thing.
Land of
Um,
vampires.
I will say I won't say. Sorry, out of character. I won't say. I take that back.
And
I will
Sharwin
say,
says,
nah.
it's fair to say there could have been one who possessed quite a bit of knowledge of Cauldareen, yes. And if they're no longer with us, then perhaps that could have created a tree. And it is possible that that knowledge, at the very least, resides with the tree.
is this someone who defected or went missing?
He did not
Oh.
defect.
He would never.
I apologize. I did not mean to insinuate.
And what happened?
Be respectful.
You're one to talk.
And yeah, you can answer that.
Just straight up.
Yeah.
Oops is gonna gesture to the photo so that now everyone sees it. And points at the half elf. This was Abram. Abram was turned. And since then has been missing.
How long?
30 years.
Oh,
35.
oh. So long enough for a tree to grow if something did happen.
It is possible.
Ruby's going
Pride, but-
to gesture kind of to the disarray of the office. Is that what this is?
Is it what?
You kind of just seem to be looking for something.
I told you the knights were going missing.
There.
How long have the knights been going missing for?
That's a great question.
Answer.
I don't remember.
No. Just. Yeah, you're good.
Oh,
You are canon.
Yeah.
you are canon.
The power of
Yeah,
improv.
Oh.
The knights have been going missing for, we'll say, I don't like a few years,
Great.
2 or 3.
While I don't think this is a 2 or 3 year mess, do you think that, and I don't mean to pry here, but do you think that Abram blamed Cauldareen for him
No,
changing? Okay.
no, never.
But if he's not himself
Then-
anymore, it's just knowledge floating, right? Without intention.
It is possible. It is interesting about the tattoos, because that is a Cauldareen thing, and what you have on your skin is much more advanced than what we have.
Where did Cauldareen?
Like Ruby, the tattoo that you have under your skin. I have one as well. That is as far as we have taken that magic.
Where did you all learn it from?
A book. Oops kind of chuckles and looks at the piles of books around her.
I want more than that. There's some kind of joke here I'm not picking up on. Am I supposed to know what this
No
book
joke.
is? Is it a
It's a
cursed book? Just
Um,
a person who was turned into a book who's a wizard or something?
Oh god, I hope we don't have to deal with that.
Well,
I'm just-
probably.
I'm just saying. Vampires is
I also think that it'd be nice to know if there are any other copies of said book or anyone else who might have access to the book.
I don't believe there are multiple copies, but our copy is with the bookkeeper.
I do love the
Ooh.
bookkeeper.
Who wants to bet that that copy is gone?
Oh, it would take
Is that in
lots of-
character?
Yeah.
It's worth checking up on, I suppose.
Oh, if
I
it
never
got-
knew how Mac kept track of all of his things.
I also don't
You ever
understand.
seen under his desk?
No.
Don't.
Not under his desk, but I've seen stood be in front of it. I still am confused how that operates. But if it got out from under Max gaze, that's an issue in and of itself.
Yes.
I would
Okay.
not want to cross him.
Right. Well, sounds like a place to start.
And another thing, would knowing who to look for, would that help at all in the search? Is there any way now, Sharwin, that you might be able to locate the tree if you knew what to look for? Who to look-
Well, there are thralls in that factory. I think
Yes.
we need to know if there are more.
What
And so
is-
you're asking, what are you asking of Sharwin?
If knowing that the tree might be Abram might be more helpful in the tracking of said tree.
Frankly, it might be harder now. That might have something to do with not noticing. If it was, in fact, someone who knew me personally in their life.
Did Abram have anyone besides your team that he was close to? Anyone outside of the clan that would be worth talking to? Maybe seeing if
They
he or
weren't
whatever
just
he
his
is.
team,
You were family.
particularly Anafe.
His sister.
Oh,
She's gonna love this.
Yeah, you can tell her.
I don't want to.
Yeah, no.
Mhm. I mean,
We're
those,
vulnerable.
Ruby's just.
We can
"Ugh."
die. You're
Do
higher
you want-
rank.
Do you want me to tell her? I'm very good at delivering bad
No,
news.
I gotta tell her.
and besides, we can ask her if maybe there's some place you would have run away to, right? Someplace important. It's not necessarily where you would have died, but maybe a place to start.
Oh.
Okay, so what do you want to do in this instance?
I want
There's
to go to
one.
Mac. Oh,
What was the
Um,
book called? So we know what to ask Mac for.
Okay, that's a question I don't know the answer
That's
to.
why I was like, Ruby did not ask, but
The book has no name, but you know where it came from.
Yeah, I know where it came from, but I don't know that.
Cable got no name.
Yeah.
Well, if it's a
Yeah,
journal,
and that's-
right?
I'd say if it's a
That's
journal or
exactly
something.
the case. Is Oops would know where it came from, and it's not like the Adventures of Wondrous Things. It's literally the item that they know that, and it just
Okay.
happened to have all that stuff in it.
So, okay.
Question then before we
What can I
start.
describe to Mac? What should I?
Do you want my recommendation?
yes.
Yes.
You should talk to Anna Faye.
I'll talk to her first.
And we should
Okay.
figure out. Well, you should. It's your job, not mine. Figure out if there are more factories. That map seemed of interest.
I'll see if I can remember where the points were on it. I only got a glance. I'll do what I can.
Well, we do have people who can look into the mind.
Okay.
That's a no fly.
Oh, I did make a friend who might be helpful there.
I do have a question.
I'm sorry, a lot happened. It didn't seem super
What
relevant.
happened to sharing?
What happened to sharing? Oh, I was talking with a guy. He bought me a drink. Like, I didn't think it was
Ruby's
relevant.
like, oh wait, never mind.
That's
I
fair.
saw that.
Do you want me to tell you every time someone buys me a drink?
Yes.
I can.
Specifically
We're
tell
on secret
Tara.
missions. Usually,
Yeah.
it's good to know who's buying our drinks.
That is true. I do have a question regarding the thralls. Is there? I know magic can do some weird shit. I would know. But is there a possibility to? Okay, hang on. What's the fancy word? Accelerate. Yes, accelerate the growth of these trees. Because if you can make things bigger or smaller, or you can basically warp just about anything. I mean, I fucking can turn into a potted plant, but
Please don't do that.
I can't control that.
Okay,
Anyway,
do you think you
um,
can turn into a tree if you tried hard enough?
I
Like a magic tree?
Not exactly.
That's what I'm
how it
driving at.
works.
If I can
Is
turn
it,
into
Sharwin?
a potted,
Stranger things have
Well,
happened.
I guess if you called Cauldareen my pot, then I guess I've become a potted plant. So like that's not horribly
Really just-
out of it, Daisy.
but my point
Don't
is,
call me that in front of them.
my point is, if I can turn into a plant in a blink, how fast can they grow these people and turn them into thrall?
Oh, are you talking about the little things running about like my little critters?
Oh, that too. But in our case, the factory workers, if they have multiple locations, how fast do you think they could make more of them?
Well, that part isn't. The speed of that is sort of an overnight process. You feed something to the tree, it
Mhm.
eats it, and spits out a thrall the next day to work for it. That's kind of how that works, which is why we nip them in the bud very quickly. So,
Okay, so it can be a pretty quick process then, faster than I was thinking it could be.
the growth of the tree is the long part. Once it's active and alive, then things can get out of hand quickly.
Hmm.
How did you get consumed by the tree? Or rather, I guess, how did that vampire die?
The story of our little town.
Oops, the
That's some-
first.
Well, yeah, at some point, a vampire was killed and struck down and staked to the ground and died there. And its malice, in that cave, nobody
It was
went
a
there.
wild time.
Yeah, nobody went
I've
there,
heard.
but it turned into a Gulthias tree. And at some point, from my small town, I was adventuring with my brother and my brother Taglin, and we went down into the cave, and we never came out. Or, well, the children that my mother knew never came out.
I'm sorry.
As am I. But I turned into something different, and over time I grew in that power, and eventually I needed to put down some roots somewhere, and literally. And so I rested here in Cauldareen, and over the last couple hundred years, I've grown more accustomed to being able to take this form and coexist and walk about again.
And is there anything that we can do to help you find this person? Is there something that we can bring behind this tree?
Well, I need to know how many there are. I need to know what we're dealing with, because if they're at the point to create the, I should be able to protect them. The fact that I cannot is worrisome, and it would be...
Charwin, you're saying them. Do you think there are multiple?
That would make more sense than factories, right? Because the pins have had necrotic energy on them. So would the tree, right? Maybe they weren't markings for factories.
Shit.
Oh, if that's the case.
We
It's a
need
much
to
bigger
know
issue.
what you saw, dear.
Right. Tell me who to go to and they can take a peek.
What is the urge that you would like to do right now, Myri? What is it Brutus wants to accomplish right now? What's the thought going through their head?
If there's somebody who can like reach into her brain and like help her like remember or find in like precise like the image that she saw, like she's willing to do it so that way we can get this information. So that's kind of her thinkings at the moment.
Okay. Make a perception check.
Okay.
Actually, no, sorry. This would be a wisdom check.
Straight wisdom? It's the
Yeah.
same. My perception, my wisdom is.
Yeah.
is exactly 5.
Hey.
So, yeah, you wouldn't know exactly how to go about, but yeah. So the wisdom check, you don't know how to go about that. Well, yes, we can have someone brought here, and she said, "Do you remember what the map looked like? What was the map of?"
Do I remember that? I, as a player, don't.
So it was a map of the continent, the 12 lands.
Right. Okay. I do remember that. All right. Whole continent, 12 lands and everything.
Oops. Do you have a map that we could look at?
Oops, just like gestures around the room. Do I have a map? Yeah, I have a map.
Sharwin looks around to find one that is just the 12 lands, and she says, was it like this?
Yeah, very similar, right? As long as it's got like all of the lands and stuff on it.
Yeah, and maybe this one's got like more detail and stuff, but it is the 12 lands. It's just a different version of it, showing like where the mountain peaks and all that stuff is. And
yeah, close enough.
And you saw markers or markings on it?
Yes. That the markers themselves had this necrotic energy to them.
I don't quite understand that, but markings themselves, very important. And she'll ask you if you can
energy.
Perhaps. Do you recall much at all about where they were, how they were spaced?
I'll see what I can do. I will confer with Oliver, and were they? I forgot that.
No,
totally.
that was
What?
Moose.
Okay, I was like, wait,
That was Moose.
fuck, like were they? And I just missed that
No,
entirely.
No, God, that'd be interesting.
They were
Like,
what?
Just a panic.
They were the shape of the tree. I was kidding.
Yeah.
But I thought it was real. I was like, wait, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Brutus is going to do her best to try to like you won't draw on the map, but maybe she can just like
I'm sorry, what did you say you were gonna do?
Do her best to try to remember where the markers were and confer with Oliver to see if he remembers where they were. Because
So you tap into Oliver?
Yeah.
Okay, so as you tap into Oliver, how do you go about this? What do you do? What do you say?
Just gonna like check and be like, hey, sorry to bother you again. Know that creepy map we looked at? Trying to remember where the markers are. Do you mind helping out?
You want to look at the map we saw?
Yeah, I do.
And your eyes glow, not like the molten that they typically do. A bit of a greenish flowing swirl.
Ooh.
And
Do we notice this?
yeah, everybody make a perception check. This will be like a DC 10 to notice because it's fairly easy
But like,
to
notice that it's different than normal. I mean, Oops wouldn't know, but like,
Yeah.
that's my question.
I got exactly a 10.
I got 16.
That would be an
Yeah.
11.
All right. Moose?
13.
All right. And yeah, I assume Oops notices, no problem.
Cool.
Yeah. So all of you notice it. Oops wouldn't necessarily know whether it's different or not, but at least your whole squad notices that they're different color than your normal. Like when you do your stuff, it's this like sunlight in your eyes.
Yeah.
And and as Oliver opens these green eyes to glance over the page, you see little like sunspots in 12 points across it.
Oh, whoa. All right.
A fae
Here.
never forgets.
That's a handy power. Kind of maybe a curse. So yeah, she will go through and I'll just like, I don't know, place coins or something where all of the markers were. 12 here.
One of them sits in the capital city of Trickery in Eleanor. And you note the rest, while spread out, are all within a capital city.
Oh.
You have placed the markers on the capital city of each land.
Well, that's distressing.
Yes, that is a bit concerning.
Balls.
Oops. How many royal knights have gone missing?
Great question.
Again, you can answer.
Do we think it might be?
How many?
You can answer. It's been a couple years, you said, and whatever you say is canon.
So much
My
responsibility.
worry is that they have been abducting royal knights and murdering them at these spots, specifically to create trees that can then be hidden.
Oh.
I'll say, I don't know, like 12 have gone missing.
Cool. Great.
Just
Sweet.
be extra
Lore.
creepy.
It's responsibility.
I know. I was about to say that's a lot of responsibility. Canon lore. Cool.
Oh, I hate that. I hate it a lot. Oh. Thank you, Oliver, by the way. Make you some mind tea.
Same thing stands.
We should probably... God, he's gonna hate it. Which I guess would be a little bit of fun. We should maybe go talk to Kagor about this.
Yeah.
Okay.
The idea of having to go back and talk
We
to
need-
him again, and Anna Faye Ruby's like, ah.
We need to figure out what is in these cities. If they're trees or factories,
Tree factories.
whatever is happening. It is apparently bigger than we might have thought.
Oh. Yeah.
The scariest part of this whole conversation was there was no way to shoot down any of the scary theories we've come up with, and I get a feeling that we haven't scratched the surface of this whole thing.
Oh, I'm betting it's much worse.
And what we've come up with is already so bad.
No one ever said this job was easy.
You're right.
No one ever said it would be this hard.
No one ever. Well, they didn't lie to you. They never said it was easy, though.
No one said anything. to
Okay,
me.
see, okay. Gesturing the hiccup. See, nobody told them, so they can't be lied to.
Well, and Sharwin chimes in, it is probably best that we have this discussion as well. If these are multiple trees, there is a very big reckoning coming. If these are factories of these tattoos, that is immense amounts of magic and energy that do not need to be out in. Hey, thanks for that raid.
And that magic is being sold to bad people. They certainly don't have any scruples about who they sell it to.
Or what it's going to be used for.
Obviously, looking at Terex. Have you told Kagor about your tattoo yet?
Yes, he took it very well. It was obviously the right choice to make in the moment.
I think he was also a little more worried about the other situation.
Yeah. So
It was probably a good time to tell him, actually. Like,
it
that
was
was
the
good
best
to.
time.
Yeah, it was the best time to kind of slip that.
Well,
Trust me, that'll come back later. Wait for it.
Do you think you could tell him what you told us about this map?
Yeah, absolutely.
Then it's best you do that. I think perhaps Daisy, escort them. I need to attend to some. There are other trees out there. I need to prepare.
Yes, I'll escort them. Oops is gonna look at every single one of you. Not one of you calls me Daisy. Now let's go.
Yes, ma'am.
Terex is just staring at you.
Ruby's gonna kind of like jab your arm a little bit. Just...
I'm gonna roll a dice for it.
Oh no.
Oh no.
She rolled for insolence.
Roll for it.
It's not. Daisy, and I walk off.
I'm trying to think of what Oops could do without seriously hurting you.
Right?
No.
How oops
You
not
can't
kill?
kill me. There will be paperwork.
I don't have to do the paperwork.
It's great.
I think Oops is afraid of paperwork. You've seen her office.
So, what are you all doing now?
Following
You-
along off to the office.
Do you want to head back to Keiko, or do we want a couple people to check in on the book, maybe?
Oh,
We were told to follow. So I guess that would be a
Okay,
question for our
we will
lovely guide.
We also
We
need
can
to
check
talk
it
to
later.
Anna
We can check it once we're done.
yeah. So there's 3 things that need to be done.
Correct.
There's 5 of us plus 1.
So if you want to split up, Ruby's the one who has to go talk to Anna Faye.
Yeah.
Rhys at least has to go to Kilgore and show him the map.
Yes.
I
I
would
can
also.
read.
Yeah, I would also like to go with Kagor because I want to talk
About your tattoo.
about other things too.
About your tattoo. Cool.
I'm
Okay,
dying.
so
I
it
think.
sounds like Ruby is wanting to go to speak with Anna Faye. Oops is leading to Kagor with Brutus and Herix. What about Ter and Hiccup?
What are you doing, Tare?
I can go and check in on the book.
Cool. Hiccup cannot read. But he will happily assist as best as he can. He can spell things phonetically. He just can't read shit.
And
I love
And-
him so much.
can Tare read?
Yeah.
Okay. I just had to make sure that one of you could. That was
I can read.
okay.
He's-
You can't read a
he's the-
star map without reading.
I mean, you're right. I just want to make sure you could read.
These
words.
stars look
Okay.
weird.
I think they spelled this constellation wrong.
If you're going to talk to Mac, you should probably mention that you are looking for the book we took from Yuka Sahur.
Okay. Yukasa her. Noted. All right, and we split up.
Okay.
I will. Where do we? We'll meet up later at our spot.
Our
Oh,
pad.
yes.
First, we'll resolve these three real quick. We'll resolve them to see how they go. So first things first, let's deal with Tear and Hiccup. Going to look into Mac about the book. So
Are you coming with me, Hiccup?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, where's Hiccup going?
Going with Tear.
Okay, so Hiccup
Okay.
and Tear are on their way to Mac, and you get to the small building that is shrouded by some form of darkness that keeps things pretty dim and comfortable for them. And you step inside, and that familiar sense. Tear, you feel quite at home in this darkened room. And Mac is behind the counter and looks up and says, hello,
Hi.
Team 10, or 2 out of 5 of Team 10?
Yeah, that's us. So I guess we're like 4, maybe. Maybe we're like team 4. Probably not. Math is not a strong suit. We're here for words, though. We're looking for a book that has no name that our friend Oops has said was acquired from Ukasaher.
And what business have you with this book with no name?
I don't think we want the book itself. I think we just wanted to. We're worried the information in the book might have fallen into the wrong hands. So we wanted to make sure the book was still around, or maybe the.
Do you
check out
consider
logs
my
to see who-
hands to be the wrong hands? The book we've kept within our library. No one gets in or out of my library.
But the knowledge did. And we just wanted to make sure that, yes, everything was still okay. And check in with you.
You say Oops sent you.
Yes.
Yes.
And like he kind of leans on that thought for a moment. He
Said
reaches
amazing
over
things about you.
and he grabs a pen and he says, "Lying is not your strong suit, Tear." And he dips
I mean,
a pen in ink. Go ahead.
nice. That was it.
And he writes something on a piece of paper and he rolls it up and he slips it down a chute. And he sits there and he waits.
Is there a way for me to? I'm pretty sure the answer is no. But based on what Oops has mentioned, is there a way to discreetly see what's under his desk?
You'd have to like look around the side of his desk. So there's not a discreet way. I mean, you can try. There's always like,
You can certainly try.
yeah, exactly. So
Curious. I'd like to see if it is possible to.
yeah, tell me how you go about this, because he's got like a 3/4 desk that's connected to the wall. It comes out like he has to walk around it to come, out and behind it. So you would have to do the same to look behind it. How are you gonna go about that?
Probably just kind of look in a direction and just wander as if he's looking at something else. Then as he like kind of wanders in a direction, he like turns to see if he can at least take a glance.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
make a
try and also be singing to like kind of see if I can like make some sort of a distraction.
Roll a stealth check here.
Me? Stealth
Yeah.
check? Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. One sec.
Twinkle, twinkle, little tear, how I wonder.
That's a 21.
How I wonder.
Yeah,
how
absolutely.
you'll
You're able to
fare.
like come over and you lean over and you look and you get a glance and Mac is sitting there and he doesn't seem to be paying you much mind in this instance. And what you see behind his desk is you just see like tons of papers and scrolls and a bunch of like ink spilled and a bunch of just interesting tubes and things. And it's an absolute mess.
Cool.
But Mac doesn't seem the type to not notice you. And so you like get a glance and then you look up at Mac and Mac's eyes are staring at that tube as he drums his fingers that he sent the scroll down in.
Oh shit.
And he's just staring and he's drumming his fingers and he's waiting.
Does it?
And he's
Take this
waiting.
long?
Not typically. And at this point, Mac's sitting there. Without getting a reply, he walks to the stairs that are at the edge of this room that lead down into a lit area below. And he just walks down them.
Gonna look to Tear. Say, okay. Don't panic yet. If it turns out that the book is gone, maybe there's a way that he keeps track of who has borrowed it. Maybe he could like narrow down some suspects. Maybe. Or
And
I'll
the
nod
darkness
my head
in the
towards the
room.
stairs.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna follow, but if the darkness is changing, then I'm not.
The darkness in the room pulses and it fades away for a moment and then it goes absolute opaque, cannot be seen through. That dim light that was held in here for a moment. And then there's an explosion downstairs.
I would like to hurry down to
Oh,
make
shit.
sure everything is okay.
Running.
As you go to move, mist forms in the air as Mac comes up. One of the other bookkeepers under his arm as he misty steps out of danger.
Everything okay?
Someone booby-trapped my library.
Oh no.
Shut it down.
That's not okay.
Get out of the building now. And Mac gets up and he moves for the
Hurrying
door.
out.
Okay, I'm gonna go outside.
Hurrying out.
And Mac steps out
I ain't
and
fucking
he
with the librarian
sets,
whose books got fucked with.
he sets the unconscious other bookkeeper down and he turns and he moves his hands and the darkness comes out and it envelops this entire building and then it seems to solidify as Mac has sealed the bookkeeper's quarters. And we jump over to Ruby, approaching where?
Where do I think Anna Faye is currently hanging out? Because my first thought was the training grounds, but I may be incorrect. Not knowing, I'm sure Ruby knows her.
Yeah,
cabins.
you would know where to find her. Yeah.
Okay.
So you tell me where you think she'd be at, and she'll be there.
Honestly, I think she'd probably be on the training grounds, honing in her dagger skills, even though she doesn't need it.
Okay.
Maybe just tossing them around just for the hell of it. That seems to be something that she would do.
Okay. So yeah, she's out and she's training, and you get out there, and
I guess stop even before I approach her. I was like, I take a breath, knowing that this is going to be a tough conversation to have, and then approach and give the signal first. Anna Faye?
and she turns, and she steps off from the practice stage and moves over to you and says, "Ah, back from your mission already? Welcome back, Ruby."
You have some time.
What's wrong?
There's
I've known you
been-
long enough to know when something is wrong, my pupil.
I'm aware. There have been some developments that I feel are going to make you unhappy.
And she just stares at you.
Let me start at the beginning, and Ruby will start explaining up until the point before they come back and explain the events that have led up to this. And then this is the rough part. Me and Team 10 met with our beloved leader who sent us to Sharwin, then took us to Daisy. I'm not allowed to call her that. Oops. And mentioned that Abram may be involved.
And for a moment, you see her cool, confident demeanor to be here to help out her students. You see it wash away for a second as she looks down and she thinks. So, he might have died.
That was mentioned, that he may have passed and have something to do with a possible tree that Sharwin cannot detect. And that might be affecting her ability to see it. Ruby's kind of awkwardly like playing with her hands, not breaking like contact, like eye contact, but like awkwardly playing with her hands nervously. Like this is not the conversation she was looking forward to having. And
if he's become a tree, a Golthian, it needs to be uprooted. And that is that. And at the very least, my brother is no longer in pain. Thank you, Ruby.
I'm sorry.
Me too.
If there is any chance to save him or anything that myself and my team can do, we will take every action to fix the situation.
Be like Sharwin, 1 in a million. My brother was formidable, but he did not possess the wild, innate magic that Sharwin did that even made her creation possible. He has become that thing. He is nothing more than remnant of energy, malice. And I wish to put that to rest.
I will do my absolute best to do the best I can then.
This is your mission. Lead it well.
I'm trying.
And that's where we'll jump over to Brutus and Terex and Oops heading towards Kagor. And you approach and you get to the stone building that is the headquarters. It's not too far from where Oops' office is, but Oops has elected to not have their office be in the same building as Kagor.
Was that an Oops decision or a Kagor decision? Because Oops is just going to walk straight into his office, no knock.
Yeah. And the person seated on the ground looks up as Oops goes to move and walks past them and then just doesn't even move.
What's their name again?
The one seated?
Yeah.
So the present one would be Bria.
What up, Bria? Gotta go talk to Kagor.
And she looks over and rolls her eyes at Oops, completely ignoring protocol, and just sits there. And you walk right by and you get to the door.
Walking right in. Let's go.
And you barge right in on Kagor, who is sitting at his desk, and he says, "Oh, well, okay. Now you're back, but there are fewer of you. But now you've brought Oops. This can only get worse."
Right, it does, yeah.
We have great news.
Yeah, Kagor, we have a situation.
Okay.
Yeah. We should tell him this.
Right. Okay. The map we were talking about was able to figure out the locations, and we're thinking potentially either more factories or potentially more Gothius trees.
Some of the vampire knights have gone missing. Also,
What? You?
did
Oh,
I
you-
not get that
don't know-
paperwork done?
You don't know about the Royal Vampire Knights? Come on, Kagor.
Oh, I am very aware of. Okay. In
Abby's laughing.
order,
Oops, it's not.
in order of just irritation right now.
Mm-hmm. Well, hold on, bud. We have reason to believe that one of them might be Abram. And Oops goes very somber.
And Sarah, the dog, lifts its head up. And then puts its head down on the ground and kind of whines once.
So maybe
And-
why? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
For a brief moment, a flash overcomes Kagor. And his features, for a split second, his ears pointed a little bit more, and his eyes flashed a color for a moment. And he grit his teeth, and for a split second, they all became sharp and pointed. And he fought it back as he fights back this transformation. Brutus, roll a Arcana check.
I'm so good at that. All right, well, that could be worse. With the -1, that's 15.
So you've not seen something like this, but that's enough knowledge to know that, well, that's a new one. As his form, you've seen shifters, you've seen the types of people they've talked about that can change into other people. You've seen bits of magic accomplish such. What he just did, he himself looked a little bit wolf-like for a moment.
Ooh.
And there was a bit of a flash there of that, and he fights it back. So,
All right there.
let's go in order. You, The Royal Knights are an order of vampires. Nasty bunch. Problematic for centuries. Talking to Terex, and he just looks at you and says, "You'd know that if you did your studies. You say that there is a map
That's correct.
of what?
Well, the continent. Markers at the capitals. Necrotic
And
energy surrounding the markers.
He reaches down and he rifles through and he pulls out a map and he lays it out. Show me.
Right.
I'll go and I'll, again, like, points or whatever, lay out the spots.
Okay, how do you do so?
How
How do you remember?
I mean, if it's all just where, like, the capitals are, I'll just go off of that, because I remember that that's, like,
Yeah.
where all the markers were, so I'll just look at it and, like, okay, here.
And oops. You think that this has to do with Aberam?
There are a lot of signs that information from Cauldareen has influenced the situation. They have the tattoos. There are thralls. It's possible. I'm not going to say 100%, but it is possible.
And he calls out, Bria! And from the shadows steps the gnome from out in the hallway, who just steps through a shadow into the room. Yes, sir. Send out a message. All agents. Code Sarah. Your locations will be given to you shortly.
Does Oops know what that is? I assume Oops knows what that is.
Oops knows exactly what that is.
And Oops is just like, all right then.
And he looks up and says, all available agents will mobilize. We are to take out these 12 positions at the exact same time. There is no room for error. There is no room for allowing any of this to go any farther.
Yes. Can Oops summon Sunblade?
Yes.
And Shatterspike?
Absolutely.
Summon who and what?
Oops has bonded weapon with the two swords that are on her wall. That's what it is, on her wall. And one of them is Shatterspike. It's an old family heirloom, and the other one is a Sunblade, because vampire hunter.
As vampire hunter.
And so they so Shatterspike just appears in her hand. The hilt of Sunblade appears in her other hand, and the blade extends brightly.
And as you summon this, they arrive in your hands. And Kagor looks down, and his clothing begins to take form, and his armor begins to arrive on his body as he calls forth the protective energy inside of him. And his ears complete the transformation as a wolf-like feature comes about him, but not completely. And the dog Sarah stands up on all fours and begins to growl as it grows in size to be standing as tall as he is. And he reaches over and he grabs an orb off of his desk. All agents, levels 5, 6, and 7. Report for a code Sarah. Clan of Cauldareen is moving out. And he walks out of the office as Code Sarah is put in motion.